Good evening. Tonight I'm going to do a short stream, a little campaign prep for my D&D game. Hi, I'm Max Porter, and I'm a dungeon master, a game master of many games, and right now I'm working on a campaign event, a series of campaign events. Now, these are the equivalent of orc attack, or somebody busts in the door with a gun. Some kind of dramatic thing that I can throw in, except it's not an encounter, I should note. A dramatic story bit that I can do when the time seems right or if things are getting a little slow. And this is the way that I am at the moment keeping a kind of larger story Oh, no. That's why it has to be a short stream. I streamed really late last night. I'm sleepy. Okay, campaign events 2. So this is how I'm keeping a larger story arc plot in this Hexcrawler game, which inherently is not designed for that kind of narrative based campaign, but is designed to be very, very much driven by the players. But I think for various reasons, it's good to have an overarching plot as well, and then I'm totally okay if the players want to run down some other series of avenues, but the larger events are going to grind on, and they can be a part of that or not as they so choose. And I think for the most part they want to be a part of it. They can't help themselves because I've set things up correctly. And that lets me have the fairness of randomness, as well as it's going to be a struggle with the yawns tonight after last night's late stream. Oi. Okay. So the Hexcrawler gives me the fairness of randomness, and I mean, I guess I just believe in the idea that a role-playing game is a conversation, and there's a push and a pull, and you don't really know where it's going to end up. But that doesn't mean you can't kind of direct things so that it follows a certain story structure. Okay, that's enough broad philosophizing. Campaign events 2. Okay, so there's one for Equitas. Contacted. Now, the other thing I'm doing with this is I've always got many, many different reasons why I'm doing all of these things. I want to link this up with the Seals of Power that I developed on stream last night, and which I need to work on some more. I'm still not super happy with Bella's. She was always going to be the toughest one. Yeah, she was always going to be the toughest one. And I'm not super happy with Akiiri's either. Although I think it makes sense and is useful, I don't think it's gonna make the player happy. Based on the game so far. So I've got to think about it a little bit more. Alright, so we have some story coming up. Contacted by... So I'm gonna be revealing the seals of power available to the players through these campaign events. Contacted by agents of the Shadow. A beautiful human. Should it be a human or a tiefling? Stairs. Let me write this a little more rightly. You notice a... I'll say human. A strikingly beautiful. Staring at you. Now, there are a couple ways I can use this. If he's just walking around the town, I'll drop this in the crowd. Which would change the description a little bit here. But it wouldn't give me a problem to say, from the crowd. Or, if the players the other players follow through on their threat to lock him in his room, along with the other cursed member of the party. Then she could come by and talk to him there, or even offer to let him out, potentially. There's something strange about her. But for a moment, you can't determine the source. Then it hits you. Her eyes are all black. No pupil. No white. Her eyes are all black. Like 2 windows into a void. She doesn't beckon, but she does have a hunk of bread in her hands that she slowly raises as she sees you noticing her. Slowly, she rips off a... How obvious should I be? Pretty obvious, I think. She rips off a breadcrumb and drops it Then she turns and walks away. And walks a few paces away before ripping off another piece of bread and dropping it as well. And so she continues out of sight. Now, it's very possible that the players, one or another player, will interrupt and say, "Can I see her?" And more than like, well, I'd probably give them a perception roll. But more than likely, it would be very difficult to notice her. Because she's very much, you know, she's using a spell, perhaps some kind of shadow illusion, to get Equitus's attention. And it's really only for him. So they don't really have much chance of noticing her, but they could certainly notice Equitus's behavior. So that is, it would be possible for them to interrupt this process. In which case, I would probably just delay it. I might not actually trigger this campaign event, because I have no particular need for this to happen, except generally in Arkne, and relatively soon. So, I can drop this in whenever I need it. So I'll probably drop it in when Equitus is either alone, or if I feel confident that he's going to play along. Although I can always rely on Paul to play along with this type of thing, I think. Oh, but it's worth noting, your burning Gesh to kill the merchant is at an ebb. The magic powered down, seeming... You feel as though it's not currently affecting you. Okay, cool. That's pretty cool. Alright, so that will take him, if he follows the breadcrumbs, the literal breadcrumbs, because why not be obvious if I can? If I'm not going to lose anything by it. So I have to pick a location in Arkne for there to be a little tete-a-tete, a little shadow, Cult of the Shadow hangout. So it could be under the library, but I feel like a lot of the game is going to focus around the library. And I don't need this to do the same. I could put it under the tavern to give the mellow eel a little more interest. I could try to send him to some other location. Kind of like it being under the tavern. But I need to check on what information I have for the tavern. So let's see. Alright, the Mellow Eel Tavern. I haven't got too much on it, actually. It's a large, extensive cavern. Cavernous tavern. I mean... kind of a sprawling 1 or 2 story building. And so there's the tavern, there's the tavern keeper, and then there's rooms. I do not have much on the tavern or the tavern keeper. So, alright. Well, the tavern keeper is going to be important as a character, no matter what I do. So we'll say the tavern keeper is kind of a foppish, like, he wants to look and act like a lord. He lives next to the governor's mansion. And of course he never can be that. Because in this town, we're getting a taste of feudalism in this world. And it's kind of fitting into my theme that I've finally figured out for this campaign. I finally figured out what this campaign's theme is. I did want to especially not knowing my 8-player party ahead of time, and it being the nature of the game, but that I think it's this push and pull. I didn't want to set that out beforehand. And I think it's kind of emerged for me through prep and play. I've discovered what the theme is, and now it's my duty to reinforce the theme. Sorry, this is a little strange and disjointed. I should focus. Alright. Equitas. You find the woman leads you by degrees to a dark cellar beneath the Mellow Eel Tavern. Do I want to put it right there, though? Or do I want to kind of send him somewhere else? There's an abandoned cabin over here. Let's go there. By degrees to an abandoned cabin on the shore of Deep Lurk Lake. She sits upon a makeshift chair of old boards, and in the dim light, the shadows cast by the tumble-down shingles of the roof. She stares at you with those black on black eyes, and finally speaks. Alright. So what voice should I use for this? I want this to be... So part of what I'm doing here is I'm setting up Equitas to have a personal relationship with his packed being, the shadow, the otherworldly entity, evil entity that he gains his power from. His patron, his otherworldly patron. And it's been a very distant and kind of far off relationship so far. And I kind of want to bring that way uncomfortably personal. So now I'm going to do some experiments to kind of kick that off. And I want to creep him out, but also make him an offer he can't refuse. Make me an offer. I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse. That's my goal, so I'm gonna have to listen to myself here.
Good evening, Equitas. Good evening, Equitas. Good evening, Equitas. Evening, Equitas. Good evening, Equitas. Evening, Equitas. Evening. Good evening, Equitas. Good evening, Equitas. Good. Good evening, Equitas. Evening, Equitas. Evening, Equitas.
Good evening, Equitas. Good evening, Equitas.
Good evening, Equitas. Evening, Equitas. Good 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 evening, Equitas.
I do kind of like that echo one. Whatever I use, I've got to keep using it for the shadow. This is dark. This is dark.
Equitas. 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 Equitas.
It's got to be one of those three. And they're all pretty good. The evil one is just so mangled. It's going to be impossible to have, like, a conversation. It's possible the echo one has the same problem, and that the echoes are going to...
What happens when I begin to speak over my own echoes? Speak over my own echoes. Speak over my own. Equitas. Equitas.
Well, there's a lot to consider, but I think Dark Angel. I think Dark Angel will be the best one. Alright. So, turn on Dark Angel. So what does she say? Equitas. It is good to see you, my wayward son. Then they're gonna start singing that song. It is good to see you developing your powers. No, it's too soon for that. Equitas, do you know who I am? Do you know to whom you speak? I know you do not approve of some of the ways in which your fellow acolytes attempt to serve me. That is all right. I like you, Equitas. If I did not, it would be easy. So I'm gonna use some subtle, abusive, manipulative behavior here. I'm gonna use some manipulative psychology, which I hate to do to a player, but he is a warlock speaking to a dreadfully evil being, an unfathomable, godlike shadow demon. It would be easy to rip you apart, to send your stained soul to the blackest pits of a forgotten corner, to a forgotten pit of the Shadowfell. But I do not wish currently. Wish to do that. Follow the right path, Equitas, and the rewards. It's good to see you developing your powers. At last, you become worthy not think I have not noticed you. Do not think that the shadow... See how that sounds.
Do not think that the shadow... Do not think that the shadow... Think that the shadow... Think that the shadow... Think that the shadow...
Okay. Quite the opposite. Granted you these powers, these magics, as you have communed, as you have connected yourself to me. What if he spoke in like an old-timey fashion?
Dost thou know to whom thou speakst? To whom thou speakst? Dost thou know who I am? Who I am? Who I am, who I am.
That Echo one is a little bit more neutral. It's not quite as evil sounding. Which makes me kind of want to save it, actually, for some other godly being. Perhaps a god. Perhaps one of the Cycle Pantheon. Instead of this dark demon. Do you know who I am? Dost thou know who I am? I like that. It's weird. It's different. And it makes it feel more old. So I'm just changing the language up. It is good to see you developing my powers. Do not think. Should I say we? Should I use the royal we? Nah. Hath I not granted thee these powers, these magics? as thou hast. Connected thyself to me, bound thyself. What a woeful night it would be. Were I not to reward thy service. Misguidedness among mortals is the commonest, is more than that is all right. I like you, Equitas. If I did not, it would be easy to rip you apart. To rip thee apart, to send thy stained soul to a forgotten pit of the Shadowfell. But I do not wish, I do not currently wish to do that. Follow the right path, Equitas. What doth I wish? What doth I wish for? Why, only to hear you pledge thyself to me, thy master, thy father, thy king. See, I'm already writing you. Thee, pledge thyself to me, thy master, thy father, thy king. Pledge thy allegiance. As thou hast grown stronger, I doth dearly wish for us to become closer, my son. I ask only for thy loyalty. And I shall grant thee a token of a greater token of my power, a seal of fire and shadow. I kind of like the idea of him possessing this woman, but I wonder if it's on theme. It is pretty demonic. Okay. And then we'll see what Equitas says. We shall see what Equitas says. Even if he says... I mean, if he says no, absolutely not. But if he doesn't want to, if he's cautious, I may give him the seal anyhow. And just let the shadow say, I shall also rid thee of thy foul curse. Thy foul curse. Its magic is no match for that of the shadow. I'll say, it's dwarven magic. Its dwarven sigil magic is no match for that of the shadow. And then one more thing. Afterward, the woman doesn't remember the interaction, but is very excited to meet a fellow worshipper of the shadow, as she is a lonely member of the cult in Arkne and wants to ask what the shadow, what the master said through her. She is basically going to absolutely shower Aquitas in adoration for tieflings, warlocks, the acolytes of the shadow, etc. Alright. That will certainly be an interesting interaction. And one that's been a long time coming. So this is, of course, going to come after his dream. Or should the dream come first? Should the dream come first? And then the god comes? Not sure. I mean, the dream is not going to give him positive reinforcement. So it might be better if the dream came after. Alright, cool. Let's see, I'll probably go another 10 or 20 minutes here. So the other one, the other important campaign event, is that I want to trigger, I'm going to need to trigger something from Arkne's backstory. Oh no, the yawns. Meeting a member of the Swordwings. She's finally going to meet a member of that much vaunted group of Sky Knights that her character's been based around wanting to join since we started the campaign. Cool moment confirming coolness of the Arkne Guard. A very, very lost Dragonborn with blue scales who wants nothing to do with Krim. Calling her House Val. House Vile. So I need more on Sezig Lagaduk, who was seeking a cursed sword. So let me get my Arkne notes out, specific to the town. Sezig. The cursed sword called Dayslayer. Well, that's not much info. He is always either at the library looking for clues or at the Mellow Eel Tavern, Clayton's Lodge. Where is our villain detailed? Is that in the main notes? I need to move that over. Yeah. The Traveler's Path. Which is... Please tell me it's somewhere on here. Did I forget to put the villain's store on the map? That would be really, really silly. The Traveler's Path. There's Roadheart. Oh boy. Oh, the Enchanter, which I renamed. Oh, it's a different Enchanter. Let's see what Cassoon. I love Cassoon.com. Aldhild True Anvil. In the corner, a huge iron suit of armor glowers at you with a dwarven visage. Hey, the man with no screen name. How you doing, my friend? I'm not gonna go much longer, I'm afraid. I think I forgot to put something really important on the map here, which is the villains friggin' store. Is the Traveler's Path anywhere on here? I think I'm gonna have to replace this. Don't worry, the players won't notice. Is Darlington Cottage even on here? There it is. I swear, if Roadheart is on here, and I put it on here twice, then I'm gonna even look sillier. The Traveler's Path. Should I change the name from the Traveler's Path to True Anvil Enchanter? Why would there be an enchanter like literally right across the way here? Kind of weird. What if I replaced... What if I put her right next to the general store that she's been targeting? That would be interesting. I can't quite bring myself to believe that I completely forgot to put the villain's store on the map. It's like the one thing that I needed to do somehow. Okay, maybe I'll put it over by Digby Cottage. He's not even that interesting. Alright. It's getting replaced. Oh, come on. Wait. 1L or 2 in Traveler. Can never remember. Alright. I'm pretty sure the players will never notice. Let's see, they put 2 L's. All right. So I worked out this character. Actually, that was random. It's doing some weird formatting. Alright, so her whole deal is that she has PTSD. And not to... I don't want to reveal too much. Unless you want spoilers, man with no screen name. Or anybody else in chat. But she is... she's not quite aware of what she's doing. That's her problem. This document is a mess, but that's okay. I'm trying to set things up so that I don't have to constantly go searching for stuff. All sorts of kooky crap on the walls. Spoilers, I'd make a joke, but you haven't seen my car's rear. Thanks, man with no screen name. Alright, pretty good stuff. I got this written down. A major campaign event, getting Equitas acquainted on a personal level. With his patron. And that's pretty awesome. I wrote a couple of jottings and I reorganized my notes a little bit. And I need the thing I need to do probably tomorrow night is prep a little more for Arkne meeting Sezig Lagaduk. So I can both make her feel like the build-up was worth it and not a total letdown, and also to make it a letdown. Which is a weird combo that I gotta figure out. So I gotta write the description of the library and do that. Writing the description of the library is probably the most urgent thing, because I need to have something to say that I can just blurt out when the players approach it. I don't want to be saying a lot of and then forget to mention the flying letters that are coming in and out of the library. So there's a lot that I need to make sure that I say, and I don't want to forget it, and I don't want to have to say a lot of ums, so I need to get that down, and then I'll be good to go. And I'll be good for running a crazy Blades in the Dark game as well on Saturday night. So, I'm going to sign off for now. Good evening to you. Thank you for hanging out, the man with no screen name. It's always good to get some silly jokes and references. I will be turning off the stream, though, for now. And thank you to anybody who watches this later. You are appreciated. And, yeah, I gotta take my evening and then get up tomorrow and go to work. And until I see you folks later, have a good night. Bye-bye.